Okay, I'm live on both channels. So if you are on TikTok, you should be able to see my screen. It is not ideal, but you should be able to see it. I'm going to try and work out a more permanent option. Right now I have my camera mounted in front of me, so I also need to crane around it and look around. Not great, but it is what it is, and I think we can work with it. The other thing that I'm immediately seeing as soon as I loaded this up is a giant warning message at the top saying some users using Google Auth are experiencing issues logging in. Google Workspaces are resolving a global incident. We are using Google Auth, so that's not exciting news, but let's see if that's had any impact. So where are we? We are on day 4, and we are spending the next 30 days, well, the next 26 days, building an AI application from scratch and taking it to market and hopefully generating revenue. The big idea with this experiment is I'm going to build a new little business, a little startup, a little product. I don't really know how to term it, every single month in an hour a day. The reason I'm doing it in an hour a day is I want this to be doable by anybody who has a job, who has family, who has other obligations. I want to show that you can still build something in a limited amount of time using a tool. I'm using Lovable right now. I am not sponsored, but I did visit them the other day. That's why I have lots of swag from them. Very nice swag, and it's a really good tool. But the idea is to show that you can do this as well. So if you want to follow along, absolutely do. If you are following along, what I would say, and to kind of incentivize this, is one of the biggest difficulties with building anything like this is not actually the building, it is distribution. It's getting it out to market and showing people what it is you have built. I can help with that. So if you build along with me, tell me in the chat, we'll connect and I will give you a shout out on one of these lives or do a video or try and help get some traffic your way, especially if you need beta testers, for example. I want to be able to help nudge people in your direction. So that is, I hope, a small incentive to also build alongside. You don't need to, you're very welcome just to watch me do it if that's what you want to do, but I really want people to take action on this rather than just watch, because right now building with artificial intelligence is getting better and better and better and better, and I've started, I don't know, maybe 30 businesses over the last 15 years, and it's never been easier than it is right now. So with that in mind, we're going to hop back into the project. We're going to see if this Google Workspace issue is a big problem, which is going to be very funny after me telling you how easy it's going to be. Where are we right now? So after day 3, which was yesterday, I did a little bit of fixing. I'm trying not to do too much off stream because the whole idea is I'd spend an hour a day, but if we're being fair on me, I do spend a lot of it blabbing, so you know I'm still only doing an hour of work. And what I realized yesterday, because we didn't get very far yesterday, we moved forward and then we had to go back a few steps and basically got nothing done, which happens sometimes. I did work out where I want to go next, but because of that, it was quite kind of useful to be able to show that experience as well and how it is difficult sometimes. Anyway, I fixed up the problems. What was it? It wasn't anything particularly interesting. I've totally forgotten what it was, but it took me about 15 minutes to fix off stream. I think not having the pressure of live streaming, because this is new to me, not having the pressure of live streaming helps me to fix things off stream, which is not very helpful. Hopefully you guys on TikTok can see everything. Sorry, you've got a bit of a low view of me, which is unflattering for me, but we just have to manage. So here we go. This is what we have. Let's give it a shot. So we're going to go ahead. So I did a video which came out yesterday. I'm just going to adjust you a little bit actually, TikTok, because I've realized it's not very centralized. That'll probably do. So now I'm not centralized. We'll manage. So I did a video yesterday. Oh, it's a private video, so maybe I shouldn't use that one. That hasn't been released yet. So that was a bad video to show you. Not that you can't see it, but more that it's going to be, it might not work with my example. So I'll use this one instead. This is talking about building an app in 30 hours. So this is a video. Just there we go. It's can you build a app in 30 hours? So it's talking about this particular challenge. So I'm going to grab the URL from this. I'm going to take it over to my application. I'm going to paste that in and hit go. So it should be working. I tested it just before, but obviously as soon as you go live with these kind of things, everything falls to pieces. Cool, there we go, boom. So the video, again, as a reminder, is talking about the current challenge that I'm doing right now. So it's talking about building an app in 30 hours. It has created, off the back of that video, I gave it the link, my app went and fetched the transcript from that video, and it has used that to generate lead magnet ideas. A lead magnet is something that you give away in exchange for an email address, and if you have specific lead magnets which go underneath specific videos, so this one is about 30 days, building an app in 30 days, if you have specific ones, then you're more likely to get people to click through, rather than if you have something very generic like join my WhatsApp group or something that is not necessarily related to what it is the video is about. So it's created a couple of ideas. The first one is a 30-hour app development checklist. The second one is, are you ready to build your first app? And the third one is talking about lead magnets, the ultimate guide to creating effective lead magnets. So cool, these are fine, these ideas are good. I'm going to work on this and refine this screen. I want this to pop a bit more because right now it's basic, but the functionality is there. That's all that matters. Now what I've gone ahead and done is I've created the first one. So if I click on generate this lead magnet, it's going to make a checklist for me. And it does this in a couple of ways. It pulls the information from the video, the transcript, but I've also built in a method so that I can give information about my business. Now, normally, if I hadn't given any information about my business, it would have asked me at that point, but I think it has it cached, it has it saved in its memory because it's connected to that particular user profile. So it's already pulled in that information. So it's created this checklist, 30-hour app development checklist, your step-by-step guide to creating an app solo in 30 hours, powered by AI with Kyle. Okay, cool. So it has pulled in my business details already. It knows that my business is called AI with Kyle. I gave that to it in the test step. I kind of want to get rid of that so I can show you what that looks like. And then it will give me a checklist. So prep like a pro, define your app's purpose, sketch your core features, pick your stack and tool, plan your 30-hour sprint, timeline, micro goals, prepare your workspace, build fast, build smart, start with templates, leverage AI for code and content, test as you go, polish and launch, reflect and improve. It's fine. This is based on that particular video, which doesn't actually give you a checklist. It didn't go through how you do this. I didn't go through the details of the challenge, but this is fine based on that particular video. If I gave it a much more structured video that has more information about step by step how we're going to do the challenge, this would be a much better checklist. But it's used what it had to build what we see here, which is actually fine. And then at the bottom, it's also created this. See, I'm having to look over the camera now. Subscribe to AI with Kyle YouTube channel. So it's added in a call to action for me as well. So when somebody uses this lead magnet or gets this lead magnet, the next step is I want you to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You could obviously change that. So it is, you know, here's my first product. But by this point, we have their email address. We have them subscribed to an email newsletter. I use Beehive personally. You can use what you want, but the basics are in place. So let's go ahead. So that's where we are right now. We have the basic functionality locked and loaded, very basic. So it pulls from, we authorize with Google, it pulls a video from Google, grabs the transcript, uses ChatGPT to convert that into a lead magnet, and then displays it on that page. So I want a couple of things. Where do we go now? I want, so as I mentioned, there's an ability to add in your business details. Now this only happens the first time you sign up, basically, the first time you generate a lead magnet. I'd like for the user to be able to access these details and tweak them as well. So that's what I'm going to build next. So here we go in Lovable. What am I going to say? Oh, No Noise Investor says, Kyle, what's the name of the app? This is Lovable. Not sponsoring me, but love this app. You can sponsor me if you want. Jay Moore says, I've spent a day and a half on brainstorming and researching. Am I spending too much time on planning, and should I limit project idea? I'd say it depends if you've built before. If you have never built with vibe coding before, just start something. Think of it as a toy project and just go for it. Just build something so you can learn how to use the tools, what the limitations are as well. In terms of limiting the project idea, absolutely. So even if you want to build out a much larger complicated application, start with a toy version basically. So what I've built right now is basically a toy: input, process, output. That's it. Later I can add the ability to generate videos from Instagram, generate lead magnets from Instagram videos, from blog articles, from TikTok videos, etc. Right now I'm focusing on just one thing, YouTube. I will also be able to add multiple different types of lead magnets, so video scripts, for example, and then you record the script, or hell, I could even connect it to 11 Labs to make that video for you. And then for the output, we can have things like, I could actually build an email capture service which you hook into Beehive or you hook into Kit or whatever you use, and that would allow us to deploy landing pages via my app, which automatically publish your lead magnet to the landing page, and it automatically collects and sends emails to your email CRM or whatever that is. So we could build all of this. If I try and build all of that in one go, it will collapse. So we start very, very basic. So this is just YouTube video, YouTube script, turn that into a checklist. Simple. And we're going to build up from there. So, next step. Kyle, is difficult to use? No, not really. It's like using ChatGPT. So if you can discuss your idea for the application, it's nice and simple. Lovable is probably the simplest out there. There are alternatives, but I like Lovable. It's nice and easy. Okay, next up, I want a dashboard for the user where they can see the business details they provided when generating a first lead magnet, and they can edit and save new details. So let's put a link to this in the navigation menu at the top, and on the I don't really know what we call that page, the generate lead magnet page, with the options for what to generate. That's hopefully clear enough. Let's go ahead and do that. Gregory Bonnet, as a lead magnet strategy, is it not better to build an app as you were doing and focus to bring traffic to the app to generate leads? Yeah, absolutely, but that's more complicated for most people. So that's what I personally do. So I have like quizzes and assessments which are built using Lovable, which I use for lead generation. So people come to that assessment, they can run through that assessment, it gives them an answer, it collects their email address, etc. Absolutely, it's a really good way to do it. It's a bit more complicated. What I would love to be able to do, and it gets meta at this point, is this tool that I'm building now comes up with the ideas, but one of those ideas could be an app. And then it gives you, well, we could do it in two ways. It either gives you a project plan, which you can then take over to Lovable, or it helps you start to build the app. But then I need to build an app building app within my app, and it starts to get a bit meta. So the first version of that would likely be giving them a project plan for an application, so an idea and a project plan. So 100% people can build their own apps to get lead magnets. So I could help them build an app that builds apps. It's just more complicated, and even saying it out loud is a I'm tripping up over myself. But yes, 100%, it's a really good plan. I'm aiming this at less technical people, because anyone who knows how to build their own apps, even with Lovable, will probably just go ahead and do that, honestly. But it's a really good idea. Okay, it's created me a dashboard, so I'm going to go ahead and have a look and see what that looks like. So I'm logging in. So I've got a dashboard. There we go. So it's created me a basic dashboard. Manage your business details and generate more personalized lead magnets. Account information, it's got my email address, member since, quick actions. There we go. And it has the details that I've previously given it. So my brand/business name is AI with Kyle. Target customer are solopreneurs. What do you do? I help entrepreneurs start and grow businesses with AI. And what should people do next? Subscribe to the YouTube, and then brand tone casual. So this gets asked when they first generate a lead magnet, but we've now added a way for people to change it. So I can change this to, what should we change it to? Content creators. For example, let's see if that saves. It did not save. So duplicate. So we've hit an error. So what do? We go to here and we grab console history, and we're going to, whoops, the daisy, and then we're going to mess up all my video. There we go. So I'm going to go back to Lovable and say, great, but when saving a change in the dashboard, I get an error. Here is the Chrome console. So again, the way I got that was right-clicking on the page, going to Inspector in Chrome, and then inside the Inspector going to Console, and you can see what errors are coming up. It's a little bit hidden, but when you know about it, it's the best way to get diagnostic information, basically. So duplicate key here violates unique constraints. I want to get this. I didn't actually manage to grab the console, apparently. And yes, you can see my email, but it's publicly available anyway. I will clean all that up afterwards. There we go. As long as you can't see my API keys. I'll know when I wake up to a $1,000 bill. Duplicate key value. So, and an error message saying duplicate key value. What was it? I can't copy this, so I'm just going to have to type it. User profiles. So user profiles, user ID, what was it? Key. Okay, so I'm just feeding back the problem that I've hit into with Lovable, and Lovable will be able to diagnose why that is and hopefully fix it. So we discussed this in day 2 in particular. There's like 4 or 5 different ways you can deal with problems when you're vibe coding, many more, but these are the nice simple ways. You just feed back what you're seeing, and then hopefully the tool can work its way through. I see the issue. The error duplicate key value violates unique constraint. User profiles user ID key means there's already a profile for this user. Yes. So, okay. So what it's trying to do is save a new user profile instead of updating an existing one. Fixing the duplicate by adding conflict resolution. It will now update existing profiles instead of trying to create duplicates. Cool. Don't know why it was doing that, but that's fine. So that's going to go ahead. Oh, that is done. So we're going to... Does anyone know? Do I actually have to click update each time? I'm not convinced I do. Anyway. There we go. I'm going to go ahead, log in. Get flashbanged every time like that. And then dashboard is here. So I'm going to change this to content creators, and then click save change. Your business details have been saved successfully. As always, I'm not going to believe the computer just because it says that. So I'm going to go back to the home page and then back to the dashboard, and cool, content creators is now in there. Let's actually test that this goes through in my functioning app though. So I'm going to change my business name to, what we're going to be, sod it, McDonald's. Save changes. Okay, so that's been updated. We're then going to go back to here. We're then going to generate a video again. Boop, boop, boop. So this does cost me money every time I do this generation because it's sending it to ChatGPT. That is something to be aware of. Okay, and then I need to click this. But the amount it cost me is where? So yesterday I spent 11 cents. The day before I spent 10 cents. Today, I don't know. I'm spending very little when I am testing. We are going to have to talk about how much it's costing once we deploy to users, because sure, it's only costing me a few cents each time I do a generation, but will the economics of that work out once we roll it out? Probably, but we need to think about that at a later date. But right now it's costing me like less than $1 a day. It's basically nothing. but I do need to pay. Okay, there we go. Powered by McDonald's AI Business Wisdom. So it knows I am McDonald's now. And then there will be other references. So what this does, and there we go, it says McDonald's at the top, is this pulls in my business profile and the transcript that I've given it from YouTube, and then uses instructions to put together a checklist like this. This is fine. I'm actually okay with this. Has a checklist, so cool. We now have a dashboard that works. What's this do? It's created a bizarre generate new view. So what I'd quite like to do is have an ability for them to see all of their previous generations, because each time I go and generate a new lead magnet, it is kind of getting rid of my old one. So if I want them to be able to create multiple lead magnets, we can't have that memory get flushed out. They need to have a history of their generations. So that will probably live in the business dashboard. So I'm going to hop back, and that's going to be my next goal. Kyle, is Lovable similar to Figma? So Figma's more on the front end for design. So no, Lovable does more. I think it even has a, let's see, Figma to Lovable. So there is an integration. So you can do the beautiful design work in Figma, and then you can bring it into Lovable using Builder.io as native integration. No devs needed. So Figma to Builder.io to Lovable to app. So Lovable helps you build out the functionality of the app, whereas Figma is more focused on the front end, the user interface and the user experience. But you can put them together. But Lovable will help you with the actual logic, the programming logic behind it, connecting it to a back end like Supabase, etc., etc. Cool. Sorry, TikTok, I haven't been seeing if there's any questions because you're down here. No, that's fine. Awesome. So, what did I say I was going to do? Oh, okay, so great. The dashboard is working, and user details updating on save. Now I want to add a history of the previous lead magnet generations so that the user can access all of their generations. This should live in their dashboard. We'll need, what do we need? So we need a name for the lead magnet, the type, i.e. checklist, quiz, what's the other one? PDF. What else do we want? Date generated might be useful, and a button / link to access the generation. So we also need a way to save / keep in memory past generations, all connected to the specific user. Okay, boom, let's go. So the big mistake I was making yesterday, and the reason why it all went horribly wrong, was because I was trying to give too many instructions in one go. It's probably my biggest piece of advice with vibe coding is you do one little thing at a time. It's very tempting to give feedback as we would to a human. So say if a human sent us something, we would write them an email saying, cool, fix this button looks a bit weird, move this around, blah, blah, blah. We'd give it all in one go. You can do it with a vibe coding tool, but it doesn't necessarily know how to prioritize all of that information, and it will not know which bits to focus on, basically. So it will catch some bits, but then because you're trying to give it too much to do at the same time, it will slip up on the others. So what ended up happening was I gave it far too many commands because I was being lazy, and I fully admit that I was being lazy, and I was on the stream and I was like, let's just move fast. It got something wrong, and then instead of acknowledging that I'd been lazy and rolling back, which you can do very easily, and it's probably a good idea if you know that something's gone wrong, instead of doing that, I doubled down and I was like, okay, just fix it, just fix it, just fix it, which is the second cardinal sin. Don't do that in vibe coding. I tend to allow, this is still maybe bad habits, but I allow the vibe coding tool to try to fix its errors 3 times. If it can't do it after 3 times, it's not going to be able to. It's going to instead just create a huge mess of code and kind of, it's like building a house on unsteady foundations. It's going to continue to create and create and create, but there's something rotten underneath and it will collapse eventually. So instead we roll back and we go a little bit more carefully, a bit more slowly. And we can always go back to our master plan. So remember, we created a master plan in Claude or another AI to kind of keep us on track. So this is one thing that I would say Cursor is better at. In Cursor, which is a more advanced tool, which a much steeper learning curve, which is why I'm not using it for this, because I want to get people into vibe coding. Cursor allows you to kind of upload like a master plan and to continue to tell Cursor to refer to that master plan, like make sure you know where we're going. So it's better at kind of structuring large projects, whereas Lovable is really good at getting things done very quickly. That said, what I tend to do, but I need to do it less and less these days, but what I tend to do is I will start in Lovable, and then when the project gets to a certain level of complexity, I will move it over to Cursor. So I'll use GitHub. I will push the whole repo, the whole program into GitHub, which is basically like cloud storage, if you've never heard of it. And then I can pull from my cloud storage, GitHub, into Cursor, and I can continue the project from there. You can actually use both tools because you have a synchronized kind of version that lives in GitHub. So you can go back and forward if you need to. However, as Lovable gets better and better and better, there's less need to go to a more complicated tool, if that makes sense. And remember that something like Lovable is 9 months old. They have not been around for long. 9 months ago, there were 3 people in an office, and now they have 190. I mean, they're moving fast and they're shipping a lot. So we are, to get this to work, I'll add lead magnet history to the dashboard by creating a database to store generations and updating the UI to display them. So we're having to create in our database a place to put the old lead magnets. So at the moment it generates them, and then as soon as I go off the page, it's gone. Now we are putting in our Superbase, in our database, in the back end, we're putting basically a storage closet where we can put in and categorize and assign to different users all of these lead magnets that we're going to generate. So when a user creates a lead magnet, they're now going to have a little library that they can access. But that means we need to put it in the database. We can't have it just sitting in the browser, just in Chrome, because as soon as they leave that window, it disappears. So successfully added lead magnet history to the dashboard. Users can now view all of their previous generations with title, type, date, and access links to view the full content. Now, are we going to believe it? No, we are going to go and check, because we check every single step to make sure it is working. We do not assume that just because the AI says, hey, I've done it, that it has done it. And we go and check to see if there's any problems, and we fix those problems now rather than waiting till later, because it gets a lot messier later and we won't be able to find out where it is. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in that same video, generate some ideas. There are a lot of problems with my lights. So we're watching ChatGPT do its work. What I might add later, because it would be annoying for somebody, let's say somebody has 50 videos they want to create lead magnets for. If they have to do it one at a time like this, that's going to be annoying for them. So we'll probably add a batch system. I'm not going to do it now. It's very tempting. But we'll add it to a feature list, and I'll come back to that later. But an ability to upload, so to copy paste over 30 different URLs, in like one field, and for my tool to grab each of those and do them one at a time and process them one by one by one. But we'll add that later. Southington Digital, have you tried UWare? No. Let me check it out while I'm doing this generation. UWare, first AI coding community where creators build. Cool. In Nope, that's a hardware shop in Indonesia. That's cool. So you can upload your projects, can you? I know I hadn't heard of it, but it's interesting. My projects. So when I do launch, I talked about this yesterday, I'm in a good position where I have an audience already of about 250,000 people, and I'm also in a WhatsApp group with most of the big creators in TikTok and Instagram. We've counted it, we have a reach of maybe 4 or 5 million, like most of the big creators. So when I've built this, I will launch it to my list, I will launch it to my socials. I'll also talk to the people in the group and say, hey, I built this, do you want to check it out, do you want to tell your friends about it? So that gives me a massive advantage in this 30-day challenge. That said, building an audience is not something that you cannot do. Something's going wrong here. I'm just going to check this because this is taking too long. I'm going to refresh it and do it again, just in case. But yeah, something seems to have gone wrong, which I'll feed back to Lovable in a second. That said, building an audience is very doable for everyone. It takes time. And there we go, it worked. I'm going to have to check why it didn't work the first time. So it's done everything, so I'm going to generate a lead magnet. Yoni, I mentioned a few days ago, yoniman.mp4 is probably the best example of this. He is built in public for 500 plus days, and he just started talking to camera. He had one of, where is it? One of these. You don't need a fancy rig. He had one of these Pocket Osmo 3 or whatever it is, a couple $100, but he just started talking to camera and shooting videos about what he was doing, what he wanted to build, and got on with it. And he's 500 days into that, his daily videos, and he has an audience of hundreds of thousands, and he's released an app that's doing very well. So here we go. So this has generated the lead magnet. That's fine, we knew it was going to do that. What we want to do though is go back to dashboard. Okay, and we can see a history of my previously generated lead magnets. So all of the ones I've made today. So, well, that's not quite right because these ones don't exist. Let's see what happens if I click here. Yeah, they shouldn't exist. So let's, and then everything disappeared. So not work. There we go. So let's see if we can view that one. Not quite. Okay, so we've got a couple of things that we need to feed back to Lovable. Again, this is the name of the game. You might be watching it thinking, oh, this looks annoying. No, this is the process, unfortunately. Okay, so I see the past lead magnets in the dashboard. That's good. But it has entries for lead magnets I have not created. I've only created a checklist before because we haven't created the other functionality, haven't created the quiz / PDF functionality. So only checklists should be visible, but dashboard is showing quiz and PDF generations, which do not exist. When I click the checklist link for a lead magnet that should exist, I get boop. So I'm passing through the whatever that is, and don't see the lead magnet. What are the other problems? Oh, also when I went back from the code above, failed lead magnet retrieval, to the dashboard, the historic list was missing. It reappeared upon refresh. So I'm just basically relaying what I've seen. I could have taken screenshots. I don't think I need to in this case, but sometimes you can take screenshots, send them over and say, this is what I'm seeing, that's not right, this is the reason. But you need to explain why it's not right. If I was just to respond to Lovable there, it's not working, that is insufficient for it to understand what it needs to do. So you give as much information as you can, you explain what you can see, and how what it's given you it differs from what you're expecting, and then it can try to patch that difference up. So I'll check the database for any incorrect entries and fix the navigation issues. I can see the issue. There are 3 lead magnets created simultaneously when you only generated a checklist. That's a big one. Also, the lead magnet history component isn't displaying the content correctly and using A tags instead of, okay, so it's using HTML links, anchor tags instead of React router links. Okay, cool. Fixed the lead magnet display and navigation now shows proper content instead of JSON and uses React router links to prevent page reload. See, cool. I don't know what a React router link is. I can guess it's like an HTML anchor link, but okay, well that's something, but that's not our checklist that we've created. Oh, and actually let's see if let's quickly recreate it, because it might not have a memory of it. One nice thing, and it seems like a small thing, but I'm able to navigate around and it's not all exploding and crashing, so that's good. We like that, so I'm going to create a new lead magnet. What do you think of Replete and Cursor? I love Cursor. I use Cursor most days. So I'm not using Cursor for this project for a reason that I just mentioned. I want to show that vibe coding is open and applicable to everybody. I was talking to somebody who was one of the winners of the Lovable shipped competition. So she was one of the 10 winners out of, I think, 5,000 who applied, and she had never touched code before in her life. And she created something amazing, like really advanced, in 6 weeks using Lovable. But she had, earlier on in her journey, I think somebody had told her, oh, you should check out Cursor. And she opened it and immediately was like, nope. If you are not technical, Cursor is incredibly threatening looking. It looks like, well, it is an IDE, it's a development environment. So if you know how to code, fine, you know what that looks like. It looks like VS Code, because it basically is. If you've never coded in your life before, the first time you open Cursor, it's a very natural reaction to think, oh no, this isn't for me, this is going to be too complicated. Sure, you can learn the basics in a couple of hours, if that, but just that first reaction is much more intimidating than using something like Cursor. Replete or Repli, I never know how to say it. I don't personally find it as good as Lovable. I've used Bolt, I've used Replete, I've used Lovable, I've used most of them out there, and I prefer Lovable. But it's often depends on what you're building. Some platforms are better at building for different types of application. I know Bolt in particular is good if you want to build a phone app. So it kind of depends, and it depends on a little bit on subjective as well. Cool, so that has now created that lead magnet. Let's go and check if it is in my dashboard. So which one would it be? Well, none of these have. Okay, so we're not there yet, so I'm going to actually scrap this, because still got the business details. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm now seeing 6 lead magnets, and so it is still making 3 when it should be making 1, i.e. 2 generations led to 6. Actually created. When I click onto one of the checklist lead magnets, which do exist, I got told that my typing sounds like ASMR. I don't know if that's true. Thankfully, my old MacBook had the really loud keyboard, the MacBook Pro, that clack, 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 clack. It was an awful noise, and I'm not using that, thankfully, because that would be terrible. I just see this instead of the full lead magnet we created. It seems to be a placeholder. Also, could you add timecode to generation so I can easily tell which is which? Cool. So I'm adding a timecode because at the moment it's showing me the date that it was created. So it's saying it was created today. That's not very helpful for me because I need to work out which one's which just for the diagnosis. I'll probably get rid of that, but for now it's a way to kind of scaffold in me being able to see what's going on, but I'll remove it later. Jimmy says, I like Cursor and just started learning it. Yeah, Cursor's fantastic. Cursor hooked into Claude is an absolute powerhouse. So what I do is I will often start projects in Lovable, flesh out the basics of it, the basic functionality, and then use GitHub to move it over to Cursor, and that works really well. Increasingly, I don't need to do that because Lovable does so much, but it depends on your project entirely and depends on your technical level. So I'll fix the saving logic to only save the selective lead magnet. I'm not sure if that's going to work. What about Dev0? I haven't used it, so I'm not sure. There are so many tools out there. Dev0. There's also Riley Brown's new one as well. I think it's just called Vibecode app, which is pretty cool. And he's doing some really interesting stuff because he's basically giving people access to Claude code, but through a nice looking interface, which is powerful because Claude code is very, very good. But right now, getting access to Claude code is a bit of a pain unless you are more technically minded. It's definitely doable, but again, remember that lots of people have never coded in their life, so you know, opening up Cursor or the terminal or anything like that is terrifying. Cursor AI is good, yeah. So Cursor itself draws on other models, so it pulls in, or you connect it to whatever model you want to use, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. Probably wouldn't use ChatGPT. So it gives you that flexibility to work with the other models. I used to use Gemini 2.5 Pro a lot because it has that large context window, and I found it a really good model for certain tasks, but I tend to use Claude now inside of Cursor. Right, fix the saving logic to only save the selected lead magnet. That makes me worried because it shouldn't even be creating the other ones. Now I need to clean up the placeholder entries. Let me delete the perfect. I fixed the issues. No longer saves all three automatically. Okay, only saves when the user creates a detailed lead magnet. Okay. Okay, so let's. So it's like flashbang every time. Okay, I'm not sure if that's updated, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, I pay monthly to Cursor, so I think they use all three. Yeah, so if you pay, I don't know how much Cursor is, 20 a month, you get a certain amount of usage. You can also hook directly into, well, you can do pay as you go with Cursor, where you get access to like the max models, but you're paying directly for that access. So generally, if you're building a lot, you'll need to go to that, or you can connect your own keys. But they're pretty flexible with those kind of things. So I think that's done. Let's see if that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sign back in. So we've got about 15 minutes left. We've actually made some progress. So 12, 12. So I'm going to regenerate. Again, this is costing me money every time I do it, but it's costing me about 2 or 3 cents. So it's probably not going to bankrupt me. Okay, so that's created. Now what I want it to do is I'm only creating the checklist, so it shouldn't be creating placeholders or space in the memory for the other 2 checklists. That's the problem it's having right now. Okay, so that's created it, and then we're going to go back to dashboard 1230. So this is the one. Boom. Okay, it has saved the content. It looks a bit different, but it's got the content, so it's created a place in its memory in my Superbase in the back end. And the reason we have to put it in the database is because we need some kind of persistence. We can't just have it sitting in the user's Chrome browser, and we can't make a new web page every single time. We don't really want to. So instead we've created a space in our database and we've chucked this lead magnet into it. So that kind of works. The formatting is not great, but we can work on that. Okay, and then these ones are the past ones. So what I want to do, I'm going to say that works. Well done. Can we add a nice simple one here, hopefully? Delete button. Now, do we want a trash can? No. To each lead magnet entry. That removes them from the dashboard and DB. It should have a confirm. Modal. There we go. So this is a nice simple one. It shouldn't create any problems, but I just want the user to be able to clean up that particular dashboard. It's also for me because I've got all these non-existent lead magnets I want to get rid of, and that's going to annoy me, so I'm going to get rid of them. I'll add a delete button with a confirmation modal. A modal is just like a, I guess like a pop-up. It's like a confirmation message that will appear to each lead magnet entry in the dashboard. If you didn't know the word modal, it doesn't matter. You just say add a delete button with confirmation. That said, Lovable is quite smart, so it'd probably add a confirmation box anyway, just because that's kind of the standard when you have a delete button. I should have tested that. That would have been interesting. Added delete functionality. So let's, oh, there we go. And it is there already. Okay, I don't need to update it each time. So I should be able to click this. Are you sure you want to delete it? It cannot be undone. Boop, and that's gone. 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 That feels better. Let's check that. There we go. So it has a confirmation, so you can't accidentally delete it. Looking better. Looking a lot better. Okay, so I'm happy with what we've managed to do. So the big change is that when somebody's generating a lead magnet off their YouTube video, yes, some of the context is going to come from the transcript of this video. So this video in particular, can I see the transcript? No. Where's the transcript? Well, I mean, it's in closed captions, so it's this text here. That's what we're pulling. Some of the context is going to come from there, absolutely fine, but I want them to also be able to provide context about their business, so that I'm going to change that so it's not McDonald's. Yeah, Kyle, save changes. So that when they generate lead magnets, it's going to be tailored to their specific business. It's going to be tailored to their target customers and to any information I have here. So when it gets sent to YouTube, so not YouTube, excuse me, ChatGPT to generate the lead magnet, it sends the transcript, it sends the instructions for this is what the lead magnet should look like, and it sends the business details all in one package. ChatGPT takes all of that, uses it to spit out a lead magnet, which is then sent back to the app. So this gets asked the first time that they generate anything. There's a modal which is like, hey, to make sure this is customized for your needs, tell me a bit about your business. But then afterwards they can change it in here. So today we created a dashboard here, And then we started to add to the dashboard things like the ability to add, to access prior lead magnets, the ability to delete them, to view them, etc., which required us to make changes to our database to store the lead magnets in place. So we're getting there. We have made progress today. We have not run into problems, which I was a bit worried about because of this terrifying message at the top about Google Auth not working today. But we have made progress, which is good. This is the first clean progress day. So I think tomorrow, what I want to start doing is, let me put this in. I want to flesh out the other lead magnets. So there's 2 types. The reason I didn't do them all up front was because I wanted to get the basic functionality that will apply to all lead magnets in place first. So things like we covered today, the dashboard, the being able to save them, really useful, etc., etc. So tomorrow I think I'll work on the quiz and the PDF and get them up so they can be generated. I would then start to think about access. So right now, anyone who comes onto this site can just go nuts and they can generate as much as they want, which is lovely for them, but it starts to cost me money because every time a generation is put in, let's see how much we've spent today. I'm not sure if it'll update yet. Every time a generation is, we have spent 5 cents today. So 5 US cents. So not very much, but if I released this publicly and 100 people started using it and they were doing several videos a day, then suddenly, oh okay, there's $10, and then suddenly $100 a day, and the money starts to get spent. So what we need to start thinking about is how we actually turn this into a business. So we're starting to lock in the actual product, the actual value that's delivered, but we need to start thinking about what's going to be the flow as people come through this application. So I'm thinking, this is my thought so far, that they get to this screen, the first screen, and they can plug it in a URL, and it's going to give them their lead magnet ideas, and it's going to have even more than this, loads and loads of them. That will be free. So that still costs me 1 cent or 2 cents. It costs me a bit of money, but I'm going to allow people to do that for free. That's fine. Then I'm going to allow them to generate 1 lead magnet, probably 1 for free as well, so they can see, oh shit, okay, this kind of works, this is what it does, nice. Then after they've generated 1, if they want to generate more checklists, for example, for different videos, they'll need to pay. If they want to generate the other types, they need to pay. So they kind of get to try 1 out to test it out, or maybe they could test 1 of each type and then it's locked. So let's say after I generate a checklist, this turns into a lock button, which says subscribe for, however much a month for more access. Yeah, I need to think about this. I need to think what that's going to look like. We need to test different ways to do it before I can open this up. However, that is tomorrow. We've been going for about an hour, so I've spent 40 minutes, the rest of it just yabbering, but we have made some progress. Fantastic. Thank you guys. I will be back again about 11 a.m. tomorrow, UK time, continuing to build in public. I thank you for bearing with me, TikTok. I know it's not ideal seeing this, but it is all I can do without a PC. I need to carve out some time to reformat a MacBook Pro and turn it into a PC, and then I can potentially also stream to you. It's just another task on the list, and as you can tell, I'm quite busy. I had somebody commenting the other day, it's like, how do you have time to do all this? The answer is I don't know. I'm doing too much. But thank you everybody. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. with the daily AI news and updates, and 11 a.m. with building in public, continuing to build this app. This has been day 4. We're going to be moving into day 5. I'm already pretty happy with where we are and the pace of change. I'm also giving a webinar tonight at 6 p.m. London time, talking about how you can deliver AI workshops to businesses. So you're going to marry your industry knowledge, what you know about a particular industry, with your AI knowledge, and then go and help educate people in the industry about how to use artificial intelligence. Right now, it's a really good way to make cash fast. So the most I've charged is $4,000 for 1 hour, for a 1 hour workshop. Most of my students charge $1,000, $2,000 per hour. So £1,500 roughly for 1 hour of work, which is pretty good. And I'm going to be talking in the webinar about why that's possible. I'm going to be talking about the demand, because there's a lot of it. I'm going to be talking about how much AI knowledge you need to know in order to be able to help these businesses, and it's a lot lower than you think it is. I actually tell a story about a charity I do work with, and they had a guy with 2 PhDs, and he's written a textbook about machine learning, and he came in and talked to them, and as you can imagine, he did not really help the charity. He left them feeling extremely confused about AI. And I'm also going to be talking about public speaking and how even someone like introverted like myself can learn to deliver on camera, which I've been doing multiple hours a day, and can learn to get up on stage and deliver to 400 or 500 people or 100 people or whatever it is you want to deliver to. It is doable, it's a skill, and I'm going to be talking about how you work on that, how you start to build up that skill. So that is tonight at 6 p.m. London time. The link is in my bio, so depending on what platform you are, look for the bio link, and there should be a free webinar sign up there at 6 p.m. If you cannot make it, you can still sign up, and we will send out the recording tomorrow. Not sure what time, but sometime tomorrow we'll ping out the recording to everybody who doesn't manage to make it. So cool. Thank you guys. I will see you either 10 a.m. No, I'll either see you 6 p.m. tonight, 10 a.m. tomorrow, or 11 a.m. tomorrow. I'm busy. Cheers, guys, and have a lovely day.